And last night I fell asleep mega early again, and I got up on, what was it, 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Farmer hours, yeah. I got up and I went over to the rooster and I said, "Hey, you're late." Shoot. This show is based on Lakota Star knowledge, and the basic concept is that reality begins within. So, if you want a healthy life, if you want, to live in a healthy way, it begins within you, and that means taking care of yourself. In the Lakota concept, Lakota Star knowledge teachings, the self is perceived as having four parts, and these four parts are connected to each other, and you can use a medicine wheel to represent them, and because they also connect in the center. And in that center is your sacred center. This is where your reality begins. This is also where this is deep down inside of you, yeah. And this is also where you have a piece of the grandmother Earth inside of you too. Isn't that amazing? And these four parts of yourself are your physical body, your mind, your emotional self, and your spirit. That's the four parts, and they connect to each other. And these four parts, each one of them can be broken down into four parts again. Yeah, it's just the way it's cool. But these are the four. It's good to know the basic parts, yeah, the foundation parts, because that's the most important thing. So you do your best in taking care of those four parts, and don't go extreme, yeah, because I don't like it when people go extreme, because when they do that, then they have this tendency to, it's like they're striving for perfection, and perfection is an illusion that was created by non-linear society, because it encourages and perpetuates an us against them kind of concept, where if you follow the rules of this perfection goal society, yeah, I already said that good in it, society, you're gonna end up dividing things into two groups, yeah, them and us, and it's us against them, and that's duality. Yeah, that's not what the universe is about. The universe is not like that at all. That man creates that. Yeah. So, like, I know somebody who, unfortunately, this is a really good friend of mine, and she is really into holistic living, which is fine, but she shuns modern medicine. And I just, I have to say, be careful with that, because that's going down that road of extreme. That's going down that road of duality, of saying I'm only gonna eat plants, and you know what? That's gonna kill you. Yeah, some people do this, and they don't really know what they're doing. They take some kind of nature course taught by some kind of charlatan who calls themselves a shaman or whatever, and that tells them, don't go to modern doctors, don't go to modern medicine, because they're just trying to make money. They make their money, from keeping you sick. That argument holds some truth, but it is not entirely true. Okay? Because, see, that argument is saying either this or that. That is duality. And the reality is not that way. Yes, there are doctors who do that, but there's a crap load of doctors who really do want to help you. They're not out to make money. Yeah? So, modern medicine is nothing to shy away from. It's nothing to shun, because it can help you. That's what it was designed for in the first place. In other words, just because one doctor may be ripping off his patients with pills, that does not mean all of them do. In other words, you cannot say all doctors are the same, because then you're dualistic if you do. If you think that all doctors are the same, you are dualistic because you're categorizing everything. This is hinting at racism, saying all Indians are no good. All Indians are drunks. All Indians are lazy. All Indians are, they're just worthless. That's racist. And if you say that about doctors, that's a form of, I don't know, what would you call that? It's not, you wouldn't call it racism, but it's the same concept. Yeah? So, that's why I said when you take care of yourself, don't be extreme about it. Just do the best that you can. Like, see, myself, I try to take a walk every day and we'll go among nature because there's a lot of nature where I live. Believe it or not, Berlin is a city of trees. So, it's a really nice neighborhood that I live in. I really like walking through the neighborhood. Quiet, and you wouldn't even think you're in a major world city. Yeah, it's so cool. I love it. So yeah, you take care of yourself as best as you can. Yeah, and don't worry about See, what some people think is they think that every day they must get a little bit better. This is also false, because that is again linear thinking. Linear thinking is when you only go in one direction from point A to Z. Well, that's going to lead to duality as well, because when people are at point X and way up there, they turn around, look at people who are just now starting out, and they're saying, you have such a long way to go, and we're better than you because look at where we are." You see that thinking? Again, it's encouraging and perpetuating that us against them concept. That is called duality. This is not the way the universe works. Yeah, that's linear thinking. In Lakota star knowledge, it's non-linear. In fact, it's more spherical thinking. Some people could say circular, but that's kind of two-dimensional. Yeah, so it's more what did I just say? Spherical, like a globe. Yeah, it's more like a ball kind of thinking. It goes all kinds of directions. Sometimes we start from point A. Yeah, all right. So maybe we get to point F. Then maybe that took 6 months. In 6 months we change. So maybe we go back to point B, as in boy, and take a look at that again. We've changed, so we're going to see something that we didn't see before. Then you learn something. Again. Something new. Not again, but you learn something new. You're visiting point B the second time, and you're learning something new because you didn't see it before because you weren't developed like you are now. So it's good to go back. Yeah, and that's why for us it's not just going in one direction. That's why I said do the best you can do that day. Some days maybe you're able to do a lot of stuff. Maybe some days not so much. Yeah, and maybe other days you can do, so. And don't worry about it as long as you do your best, because every day is different. Yeah, every day is different, and even us too. Every day is different. So we just try to do our best. And then, this is, as we're living like this, we're going to, eventually we're going to start to face things from our past. And this is an opportunity, to face the difficult things that happened to us in our past. And this is, it's going to bring emotions. That's fine. It might bring anger, sadness, fear. That's okay. If it's overwhelming, have somebody with you to guide you. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's no rule that says we must do everything on our own. There is no rule. If that was a rule, we would not have mouths. We would not be able to communicate. We'd just be blobs of flesh, But no, we were designed to move. We were designed to motion with our hands, with our eyes, make sounds that form into words, into sentences, into languages. you know, to help one another. That means we're designed to communicate. That means we're designed to help one another and also to ask for help when we need it. We're not designed to be alone. Yeah? So, it's okay to ask for help and face those things, yeah, and then look at them and say, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I make the best from this? And as soon as you start thinking like that, remember, reality begins within. So as soon as you start thinking like that, all those emotions are starting to pack their bags, and they're going to head out pretty soon. And peace is coming in, and knowledge and wisdom. Now you're learning a skill, a life skill you will use for the rest of your life. It's one of the best ones you'll ever have, and that's taking the time to check things out. Yeah. So that's going to help you to, you come to peace with all these experiences from your past, and that's going to open up really nice memories that you forgot about. And that's going to be, that's going to make you feel good. That's your medication, yeah? And that's good. Enjoy it. And now you're going to be in the here and now. This is the best place to be, the present moment, because the future is based on what we're thinking right now. The future is not written in stone. It's all based on what we're thinking right now, our thought patterns. So if we're in the present moment a lot, and we're living a healthy life, we're influencing a healthy future. That's where we actually have power over the future. Cool, huh? And then this is also the best place to be when future difficulties come, because they will come. But also good times will come too. Both will come. And it's not about good or bad, okay? It's not about good or bad. When difficulties come, it's going to be just like you're going to deal with them just like you dealt with the ones in your past. You face it, check it out, learn from it as much as you can. Make the most out of that situation, and then the emotions, again, they leave, yeah? Whatever emotions came with it, they leave again. And every time this happens, you develop emotionally, and that helps you to develop spiritually too. I think that's wonderful. Yeah? So then, you gain knowledge again, yeah? You gain wisdom, you gain peace. You're always nurturing your peace, and that's what difficulties do when you do the work. When you do the work, the difficulties are transformed into blessings. And sometimes that happens out of the blue. That's what nature teaches us, yeah? It just happens out of the blue sometimes. Sometimes it's because of something we did. Yeah? Maybe we made a mistake. Yeah? So instead of saying, damn, and then not doing anything and just, living in regret all the time, we have an opportunity in front of us, like I said, to make the most of it, to learn from it. Yeah? And then it's no longer a mistake. It's no longer a failure. It's one of the greatest teaching experiences we've ever had. Because we've learned so much. We've learned from a lot. The mistakes are not bad. Failures are not bad. It's those people who think in the linear way who say they're bad. And they're not. Same thing for weaknesses and strengths. We need them both. Weaknesses show us where things need to be done in our lives. If you run away from your weaknesses, you can become overconfident, and that's going to result in you becoming arrogant. And this is going to lead to duality again. There's so many ways we can become dualistic. So weaknesses actually keep us balanced. They're just as important as strengths, and they're not bad. And strengths are not good. Okay? These are both ways to help us live. And it's dualistic people that assign these labels of good versus evil. Yeah? That's the reason why. But really they're not. They're both schools of thought. They both can help us, and and it's up to us, yeah, to carry that through. And when you live this way, then your communication, see, you're communicating from your sacred center now, because when you live this way, you are communicating from your sacred center. There's no language there. There's no culture. There's no skin color. This is deep inside. We all have this, and it's the same. And so when we are like this, when we meet people, it doesn't matter what color a person's skin is, unless it's blue. Yeah. Then I'll say, hey, wait a minute. Call 911. This is not right. Shoot. But no, seriously. Seriously, when you're making friends or meeting people, you don't go by skin color when you live this way, because you're communicating from your sacred center and you're reaching out to theirs. Yeah, that's the way that works. And so this is the way of the ancestors. This is how they communicate. This is how they live. This is why they call themselves Ikje Oyate. That means human. Yeah, they didn't call themselves Lakota. That comes millions of years later. Yeah, we called ourselves Ikje Oyate. So this is the way it is. Yeah, this is how to live. When you have this kind of this information and you do your best to live it, the quality of your life increases. It just does. Duality is when that can be accomplished a number of ways. There's not just one way to do that. Like, for example, when you look at something that has several components and you only focus on one, and you avoid the rest and say, that's bad. The ones that you don't like, you say, that's bad. And the ones that you like, you say, this is a good one. And then you try to force yourself to only stay in that one component. Then you start to develop addiction. And this is going to seep into your entire lifestyle. So you're going to try to do your best to stay in that, whatever that is, whether it's an emotion, a thought, excuse me, an ideology or whatever. Yeah, that you just force yourself to only do that thing. Like I said, avoiding modern medicine is one form of that. Like I said, it causes a person to separate, things into this and that. And for example, in emotions, a person may want to be just happy all the time, so they avoid everything that's gonna, that causes them to feel another emotion. But what happens when an experience comes to them out of the blue that just brings with it fear, anger, sadness? What do? They avoid it. They run away from it. And they deny it. They act like it's not there. And carry on as if it's not doing anything. It's because they're addicted. They're addicted to the one other emotion. And they choose to not acknowledge these other ones. And so it's like they get into a car wreck or something, and they get injured pretty bad. And maybe they're walking around and a bone sticking out from their elbow, and people are saying, "Hey, you should go to the hospital, man. Your bone is sticking out." No, it's not. It's okay. I'm all right. It's not sticking out. There's nothing wrong with it. Believe it or not, there's actually people like that. Yeah, no joke. Ear be barely hanging on. No, my ear's okay. I hear just fine. Turning their head and it's flopping around. That's rugged. If that's not denial, I don't know what is. That's what I mean. Yeah, people do that with emotions. They avoid it, and remember what I said earlier. When a difficulty comes, it's actually bringing you something healthy. Yeah, you're getting an opportunity to gain knowledge, to gain wisdom, to achieve more peace. And that's going to help you enjoy the good times even more. And they're totally pushing that away because they only want to feel a certain emotion. Yeah, so they call the other emotions bad. So they say, think happy thoughts only. And then they assign the good to positive and bad to negative. Yeah? So they say, think good, positive, happy thoughts. Just think good, positive, happy thoughts, and everything will be all right. No, it's not. I bet you $1 kabajillion that is false. Because I know it 100% to be false. Shit happens. That's a universal rule. But there's a second one. Is that really nice things happen too. Out of the blue. People only focus on the shit. Yeah? Why is that? Why are you only focusing on the shit? God damn it. Good things happen too. Yeah? Out of the blue. It's not just bad things. Yeah? There's good things too. And that's what doesn't get enough attention because people focus too much on the unhealthy aspect. And they call it negative. Saying it's bad. Well, that's not true. Yeah? Absolutely not true. So, they're avoiding that. Yeah? People who only choose to be in one emotion, they're avoiding that. And what's another way that people can become dualistic? They can see, Lakota Star Knowledge says that to every situation there's at least 3 perspectives. At least 3. Most times there's more. But in Lakota Star Knowledge parenting, you teach your child, and you have to do this first though, so you know what you're teaching. Yeah, that you look for at least 3 situations you look for 3 perspectives to each situation. If there's going to be more than 3, you will see it after you see the first 3. But first look for 3. Yeah, and then you examine those 3 or more, and you start learning from them. And then, sometimes it might be something new, and sometimes it might just be an affirmation of something you already know. Sometimes it might just be nothing. But you'll never know until you check it out. That's why it's important to check yourself out first and establish that peace in your life first, as I said earlier. That's the healthy way of living. But what unhealthy people do is they look at something and they see one aspect and they say, okay, that's the good part, I reject the rest. So if the situation has 3 parts, they're rejecting 2, which means they're only accepting and comprehending 1/3 of that reality. They reject the rest. They divide everything into 2 groups, this and that, even though there was 3. Yeah, they took the one they liked and called it good, and the other 2 they said is bad. See, that everything is always in. They see everything only in 2s. That's why it's called duality. And then they say that their argument is the correct one, that their culture is the best culture, and they judge other cultures by their culture standards. That's ethnocentrism, which leads to racism. Another thing they do is well, you know what racism is. I won't explain that one. Another one is paternalism, where they'll say, I'm smarter than you, so I know what's right for you. Just do it my way and everything will go right. That is paternalism. And then they'll say, my way is the only way, and this is where, they'll develop all kinds of ideas and complex belief systems to support themselves. Yeah, they make this up themselves to oppress anybody who disagrees with them. And they'll even, if you disagree with them, they'll even say where you're going. To hell. See, that's all man-made. To oppress others, to control others. That's duality. And see, that's all created by man. That's all created on an illusion. To control. Fear and control. Yeah, that's what it's based on. So this results in them becoming oppressors, and they attract victims because they have the same foundation. Yeah, they have low self-esteem, low self-worth, emotional insecurity, inferiority complexes, and they need outside validation. Yeah, the oppressors need victims to validate how good they are, and victims need oppressors to validate their existence. They both need outside validation. That's an unhealthy way. Yeah, an unhealthy way to live. And that's the foundation of an unhealthy relationship. So that's duality. That exists all over the world. That's not a white man thing. A lot of people think that, well, the white man taught us that. No, they didn't. That existed among Indians too. Why were there in North America alone? Why is it that there were over 800, maybe even 1,000 different languages, and that these tribes were constantly at war with one another? That's duality. Yeah. So we weren't all at peace. We weren't sitting on hilltops and hugging wolves and prancing around in the prairie and playing our wooden flutes and prancing around the prairie with wolves dancing around us.